The Saturn V, the rocket that took humanity to the moon, imagined standing beneath a machine taller than a 36-story building, powerful enough to shake the ground beneath your feet and bright enough to turn night into day. A machine built not to wage war or transport cargo, but to carry human beings to another world. This is the story of the Saturn V rocket, the most powerful rocket ever to successfully carry humans into space. Let's find out. The story of the Saturn V begins during the space race in the 1960s. Space exploration had become one of the defining challenges of the era. Reaching the moon required far more than courage and determination. It demanded technology, unlike anything humanity had ever built. Sending astronauts to the moon meant launching an entire spacecraft beyond Earth's orbit, guiding it across nearly 384,000 kilometers of space, and bringing its crew safely home. Existing rockets simply weren't powerful enough. A new rocket had to be created. Designing a giant, the responsibility for building this enormous launch vehicle fell to NASA and a team of engineers led by some of the brightest minds in aerospace engineering. The result was the Saturn V, standing approximately 111 meters tall and weighing around 3,000 metric tons when fully fueled. It remains one of the largest rockets ever constructed. Despite its massive size, every component had to function with extraordinary precision. Thousands of engineers, technicians, and contractors worked together to transform an ambitious idea into reality. 3 stages. One mission, the Saturn V, used a 3-stage design. Each stage had a specific purpose. The first stage, known as the SIC, was responsible for lifting the enormous rocket off the launch pad and through the lower atmosphere. The second stage, called the S2, continued accelerating the spacecraft toward space. Finally, the third stage, the SIVB, placed the spacecraft into Earth orbit before later sending it toward the moon. By discarding each stage after its job was complete, the rocket became lighter and more efficient as it climbed higher. This concept remains fundamental to many launch systems. Today, the mighty F1 engine's perhaps the most impressive. Part of the Saturn V was its first stage engines. 5 enormous F1 engines powered the rocket at liftoff. Together, they generated approximately 7.5 million pounds of thrust. The sheer force produced by these engines was staggering. Fuel consumption reached extraordinary levels, with thousands of kilograms of propellant burned every second. The roar of the engines could be heard kilometers away, and the vibration was powerful enough to be felt through the ground. Even today, the F1 remains one of the most powerful single-chamber liquid-fueled rocket engines ever flown. Launch day, when the countdown reached 0, the Saturn V did not leap instantly into the sky. For a few moments, the engines built up to full power while the vehicle remained secured to the launch pad. Then, slowly and steadily, the rocket began to rise. Flames erupted beneath it. Clouds of steam billowed outward. The ground trembled. Apollo lunar program. Its most famous flight came in July 1969. Apollo 11 carried astronauts Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins toward the moon. Days later, Armstrong and Aldrin became the first humans to walk on its surface while Collins remained in lunar orbit aboard the command module. The achievement fulfilled one of humanity's greatest ambitions. Subsequent Apollo missions continued, expanding our understanding of the moon and demonstrated the reliability of the Saturn V. Beyond Apollo 11. Although Apollo 11 is the most remembered mission, the Saturn V launched many other historic flights. It carried astronauts on multiple lunar expeditions. It transported scientific equipment that allowed researchers to study the moon in unprecedented detail. Its final launch occurred in 1973, when it placed the Skylab space station into orbit. Skylab became America's first space station and further demonstrated the rocket's extraordinary capabilities. In total, the Saturn V flew 13 times. Remarkably, every launch successfully achieved its primary objectives. Engineering marvel building. The Saturn V required solving countless technical challenges. Engineers had to develop powerful engines, lightweight materials, advanced guidance computers, and reliable life support systems. Computers used during the Apollo era possessed only a fraction of the processing power found in today's smartphones, yet they successfully guided astronauts hundreds of thousands of kilometers through space. The Saturn V represented the combined efforts of hundreds of thousands. Can be viewed in museums, where visitors stand beneath the enormous rocket and appreciate its immense size. Modern space programs often draw inspiration from the achievements of the Apollo era. The Saturn V demonstrated that ambitious goals could be achieved through innovation, perseverance, and cooperation. It remains a symbol of exploration and possibility. Why the Saturn V still matters. The Saturn V was more than a machine. It represented humanity's willingness to attempt the extraordinary. It showed that impossible dreams could become achievable objectives. It encouraged future generations to pursue careers in science, engineering, and exploration. Its legacy extends beyond the moon. Every new mission that pushes farther into space owes something to the lessons learned during the Saturn V program. Conclusion. The Saturn V rocket stands. It transformed imagination into reality. More than half a century later, its story continues to remind us that when people unite behind a bold vision, remarkable things can happen. The Saturn V didn't just take humanity to the moon. It showed us how far we can go when we dare to reach for the stars. If you enjoyed this journey through aviation and space history, don't forget to like, share,